Thank you, bell ringer. That worked well. Good afternoon, everyone. For those of you that I have not had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Devika Stalling, and I just wanted to give you guys a warm welcome and thank you for being here today. It's really wonderful to see everyone in attendance. As you continue to eat, I'm just going to make some mentions of some dignitaries in the room, and when I call your name, if you just wave your hand. We have with us our city manager, Dean Albro, Lompoc City Council member Victor Vega, Lompoc Police Chief Kevin Martin, Lompoc Police Captain Augustine Arias, Lompoc Fire Chief Brian Fallon, Vandenberg Space Force Base SLD-30 Commander Colonel Mark Shoemaker, Vandenberg Space Force Base SLD-30 Chief Jay Harris, Vandenberg Space Force Base Enlisted Airman Chief Master Sergeant Malcolm Summers II. In addition, I would like to acknowledge and introduce our Chamber Board of Director members that are here with us today. Some of them are working out at the front desk. We have with us Guadalupe Zavala, Candace Justice, Phil Carpenter, Pam Hudson. And I will now turn the program over to City Manager Dean Albro.
I tried to write big enough. Make sure this is on. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, I tried to write big enough so I didn't bring my glasses today, so bear with me. All right, so I'm gonna kick it off. I got a couple of I try to do videos so you guys can see what's happening behind the scenes. I got a couple today that I'm gonna play: the geothermal, the hydro, when we got some street repairs that we did and some sign factory. So I'm gonna play that now and I'll get back to you.
Here at the geothermal plant, I'm about 7 hours north of Lompoc, about an hour and a half up in the mountains. We're quite a ways up here. It's a pretty cool facility. I'm here with Jim Beach, who is the NCPA thermal plant manager.
We provide not only the geothermal renewable resources for California, but also that support the California renewable initiatives, right, to go green, basically. So for Lompoc and everybody else that's part of this project, we provide valuable resources. Also, anything that's generated by solar or hydro or basically geothermal resources qualify for the renewable energy credits, which also are very valuable for the members and cities like yourself.
All right, so I'm here at the city of Murphys, and we're going to explore the electro-hydro plant that's here. And as we explore solar, this plant's going to become more and more important because it provides energy when the sun goes down. So come with me, let's go check things out. And I'm here with Jake Iman. He is the hydroelectric manager. And Jake, maybe you could tell us about what this lake really means to this whole project.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so Lake Alpine is our uppermost reservoir, one of 7, and it's really where the first water is collected after it comes down as rain or snow, and then the water comes into our reservoir and we pass it downstream when our customers need to have electricity delivered.
So we came about 6 miles down from Alpine Lake. We're here at Spicer. Jake, maybe you could tell us about this facility.
Yeah, thanks Dean. This facility is one of our key generating and storage assets. New Spicer Meadow Reservoir provides storage for seasonal power needs. So we send water down to, once we generate here, we send it down to McKay's Point and then down to Clarkville Powerhouse.
But this produces energy too, right?
Yeah, it's a renewable resource. It produces 6 megawatts of renewable energy.
And the other plant's a much bigger plant, right?
That's right. Yeah, that Clarkville Powerhouse produces enough for about 250,000 homes. It's 253 megawatts.
Well, Jake, I want to say thank you. I enjoyed the tour. It was educational, and I really appreciated it.
Yeah, it was our pleasure, Dean. Thanks for coming up.
Well, I'm here today with Lorenzo Gonzalez. He's a street maintenance supervisor, and he's going to go and tell us a little bit about what they do out there in the streets.
We have all the machines for cutting out the vinyl, for printing out any signs that we need to make, to hit a stop sign, for example. So we need to respond As soon as we hear there's a stop sign down, stop sign is of course more urgent. It's regulating a controlled intersection, so we need to make sure we jump on those as soon as we hear about them.
It's a lot of stuff that we take for advantage of, driving in our car, but I know we really appreciate making us safe when we're on the road and doing this stuff for us, and want to thank you for that and appreciate what you do. So I'm out here with Richard Monteghetti, and he's our engineering technician. He comes out here and makes sure that these roads are getting down on the ground the right way. Maybe explain to us what we're looking at.
Well, today, Dean, what we're working on is B Street, and this is part of our 24 fiscal year road rehabilitation. We started last week with a micro sill that helped cure any cracks, any imperfections, and give us more of a level surface. So Dean, this is a good example of the microsurfacing that was done. This section of locust has already been complete. This had a lot of alligator cracking and small imperfections. This gave it that nice sealed coating that we were looking for that the Cape Seal will go over. We follow with this process that you're seeing today, which is going to be, we call it Cape Seal. It's going to have an emulsion with rubberized aggregate in it, and then we follow it with a 1/2 inch aggregate top coat.
So it's just like a giant glue, and they glue the rocks down?
That's the best way to look at it.
Well, I really appreciate you coming out here and showing me this.
Thanks so much for coming out.
All right, so I'm going to change gears a little bit. This is the 2025-27 budget, and we're getting ready to put our budget together. And I'm pretty excited that we're going to be able to run a status quo budget. We'll be able to maintain our service levels. And we've been running a balanced budget for the last 4 years, so I've seen a lot of cities that are deficit budgets, so it's good to see that we're going to be able to maintain those service levels. If you would ask me 4 months ago, next slide. If you were to ask me 4 months ago what the economy was going to look like, I would have said there's no possibility that we're going to be falling into a recession. Our unemployment numbers are super low. Our GDP, growth is great. We have 1.5 jobs for every opening, and the numbers just don't show a recession. But a lot of things have changed. We've got a new administration, got trade wars, tariffs, Doge. We're arguing over Federal Reserve rates. And our consumer confidence is pretty low right now. I personally don't think the tariffs are going to affect, make a recession or affect the economy that much. Eventually they'll work that all out, but we'll see what happens. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Some of the things, I'm going to shift gears a little bit too and talk about our revenue streams here at the city. 4 years ago, houses were relatively lower and they went up about 40% as those houses change hands after they sell or an inheritance and the assessor reassesses them. We're going to start seeing more and more sales tax into our city. It's good for us. It's not good if you're trying to buy a house and it's 40% up and interest rates are up. But it's good for the city. Shifting gears again, I'll talk a little bit about sales tax. We're seeing a lot of downward pressure on sales tax. If you look at this, you can see that the wages went up almost 11.5% last year. But you'd think that as those wages go up, our taxes will go up because that's what disposable income usually comes. But we're seeing some weird, some things that we're not producing babies like we were. I mean, right now it's like a ball. Usually this is a triangle, and there's a bunch of babies, coming in. But we're seeing less people per household. Our households going from 3.3 people to 2.7 in California. It's not surprising since it's a little bit more expensive to live here. Yes, we're just not having that kids, and our patterns change as you get older. We spend as baby boomers, we like to get the lawn done or the house painted. We're not buying that SUV or that camper for the kids, so we're seeing less and less tangible goods, so less sales tax. And another thing is the shift in EV vehicles. As we buy more and more EV vehicles, we're not having that sales tax at the pump, nor are we having the pump tax, which is how we pave our roads. So we have to mitigate that as we move forward and keep an eye on that. We're seeing a lot more rockets shooting off. That's good. Our TOT is going to be strong. And then the last one is cannabis. Cannabis is kind of tapering off. So, yeah. Overall, we're going to see a status quo budget. Like I said, that's a good thing. I got one more video to play. I love videos. I just love that video. I just love the staff here, and it really makes my job really enjoyable. I did want to take a moment to thank Commander Colonel Shoemaker. Thank you for everything you've done to help this be a stronger community. Thank you for helping us get resiliency grants and making all of us stronger, and I really appreciate you. I'm going to miss you. I know your tour's almost up, and we've really enjoyed working with you. And if you could, help me welcome our next speaker, our Chief of Police, Kevin Martin.
Thank you, Dean. Good afternoon. I hope everybody enjoyed their lunch. It was delicious. Thank you all for being here. Kevin Martin, I am your Chief of Police. I've been in the role now a little over 2 years. You've got one of the best police departments in the county, in my opinion. These officers work hard every day and love what they do, and I think it's a reflection of what you're going to see in the presentation today. So we just released our 2024 annual report. It's available on our website. If you go to the homepage of the police department, there's a link there that'll take you out to the book, and it lays out all the things that we've accomplished in 2024. I don't like this page, but I have to do it. The staff say I have to do it. But what I wanted to do today was I wanted to point out some of the statistics that we're seeing in the police department. If you notice on the top left, our serious crimes against persons are down 1%. Our serious crimes against property is down 21%. All right, those are great numbers, and we can see that happening primarily because the staffing is up finally. We're doing really good. We only have 2 open positions in the police department for police officers. So the support that we're getting and our human resources department and all the things that it takes to get a police officer onto the streets. If you're not aware of it, from the time that I hire a police officer, get them into the academy, put them into a field training officer program, is a minimum of a 1-year time frame. Just the academy and FTO is 1 year. So it takes a long time to get an officer into a police car by themselves, but we refuse to lower our standards. So we make sure that those officers are capable and ready to go out and do that job that we need them to do. And then we also show you a 3-year comparison on this slide. And this is all, again, available in the annual report. We had tremendous support in this budget for our capital improvements. One of the things I'm really proud of, and it wasn't anything that I was doing specifically in the sense of I wasn't just looking to hire female officers. They just started applying. And we have the most female officers in the history of the Lompoc Police Department working for us right now. Yep, proud of that. That brought a new challenge. The ladies' locker room was not sufficient for the numbers that we were having come and apply and are going out to work. So we had to renovate the locker room, and that's the photo that you see on the left. It's a great locker room for them now. If you're not familiar, the city funded a new radio upgrade for the entire city, focusing primarily on police and fire first. It's a $4.3 million project, and it's taking us into the future and also getting us compliant with what's required in the P25 requirements for radio. So that's full speed ahead. I didn't make the meeting today, but Captain Arias did. But we did deploy the new portables, so the officers have that technology on their uniforms now. That was my only requirement. If the portables that we had prior to this, I think I had when I first came here in 1993. So it was time. And so our radio shop does a great job, but they're having to buy parts on eBay to keep these things going. So that's not a joke. So we finally got that equipment updated. Now what we're working on is the infrastructure. May 5th, they're going to be starting to do the installs on all the police vehicles. and the fire vehicles to get the new radios installed. And that'll take a little bit of time, but the last part of it is going to be the infrastructure, which are the new towers that are required to operate the new frequencies. So that we're hoping by the end of the year this project will be completed and we'll be operating on the new radio system. We're excited for it. The other thing that you see on the screen here is our body cam program. So the community was very clear in the past and helping us and wanting us to get the body cams. The police department's always wanted them. We just didn't have the money, but the council was able to fund us for the body cams, and they've been a great tool for us. Every officer now wears a body cam. It syncs with the car cams in their cars. Our jailers have them, our CSOs have them. So anybody that's having interaction with the public on any kind of enforcement or jail environment, they're going to have that body cam. Those officers and that staff are going to have those body cams on them, and making sure that we're transparent in all that we do with our community. So again, in the annual report, you'll see these numbers here. I was going to work off of this, but it's just too darn small. So our records division, maybe I'm going to have to do this, Steve. So our records division processed 5,576 reports and 2,612 evidence discovery requests. Those are when cases are going over to the DA's office needing to get processed. They have to process that evidence and get it to them so they can review it, as well as the defense. Our detective division, 81 search warrants, 977 investigations total. And the Special Investigations Unit investigated and made 21 felony arrests. They're out there working hard, and they're doing a really good job. Community Services Division, the one stat I really want everybody to pay attention to is not so much the citations. That happens, that's what we do. But it's the vehicles towed. A lot of these vehicles are those abandoned vehicles that everybody sees on the street and need help getting them out of your neighborhoods. We have a team that does that, and they work every day marking those vehicles and making sure when it rises to a legal level that we're able to remove them if we can. Patrol Division, 31,314 calls for service, issued just over 1,100 citations. When we talk about the Patrol Division, that's 25 police officers that are working and investigating and responding to 31,000 calls in a year. So when you deduct it from my total force, you see that there's a lot of work that does go on. And in our jail, 874 total bookings for the year. And Joey Bailey does a great job supervising that unit. They had 100% passing of all of our state required inspections that comes with having our own jail. In this slide, what I wanted to present to you was some of the things, the stats that what we've seen when it comes to the homeless. It's a big issue for all communities, not just Lompoc. So in the last budget, the council funded a full-time homeless liaison officer and partnered them with our marijuana compliance officer. And together they were out working both aspects of those roles. And we had 623 homeless contacts last year in 2024. Now I want you to pay attention, that's not 623 homeless people, right? Because we contact them regularly over and over and over again. And each time that we go out, we offer services. We're doing everything we can to get these people into a better place in life so that they do have a brighter future than living in the riverbed or on the street somewhere in our community. Not every one of them is always willing to accept the assistance, but we work through that and we work with our partners in the community to hopefully make a connection and long-term get them out of that environment. One of the other things I'm really proud of with my community services section, we did 29 events, community events last year where the police department went out and engaged with our community. That was one of my priorities when I took over as chief, because with COVID and all the things that we all experienced, we had to pull back. But the police department's been really, really active getting back out in the community and becoming the partner that we should be and the partner we hope that you'll be. And then finally, with the annual report, our cadet program. It used to be the Explorer program, but we found a better way to run that program under a cadet program, and they're out in the community doing a lot of stuff for us and representing us very well. I think currently, Chip, correct me if I'm wrong, including Lieutenant Chisholm, who's got over 40 years in the job. He started as an Explorer. And then we currently have 4 or 5 police officers that started in our Explorer post and now are police officers today. It's a wonderful program. If you know of anybody or any kids that are interested, please direct them to the police department and we can share with them what the program's about and how to be involved. So, most important slide. You know, as your chief, I go out in the community, not just here, other cities in the county. It's off duty sometimes. People find out what I do. Ooh, that must be a rough job. No, it's a great job. It's a great place to be the chief. And these numbers show that. These numbers are from the FBI's website. All of the police departments in the nation report their crime stats to the DOJ, Department of Justice. And the FBI takes those and they put them up on the screen. It's not in the annual report because 2024's numbers aren't out yet. And our annual report is annually. But for 22 and 23, you can see these numbers. Aggravated assaults. We're the best in the county. Homicides. We had a couple of years, it was a little rough, but we're not the worst. Santa Maria's winning, unfortunately. Motor vehicles, all right? We are struggling with that. We all know that. But what I'd ask you to pay attention to is 2022, Santa Maria had 1,145 stolen vehicles. 2023, they had 735. What happened? There's a tool called Flock. These are cameras that are mounted in the community that are license plate reading cameras. That's what you're seeing in Santa Maria. Last year, we engaged with Flock, and we've got Flock cameras throughout the community. We partnered with the county housing who helped fund some of these for around some of their facilities, and then we're paying for some as well in the community. So to total, I think we're at 58 cameras in the city that are helping to reduce stolen vehicle crimes. The cameras will read the license plate. They're rear facing. They're not front facing. They doesn't catch any of the citizens' faces. And if they're listed as stolen vehicles in the state system, our dispatch is immediately notified. And then we're able to respond to officers to hopefully recover that stolen vehicle. It's proven it works. So that's what I expect to see that in the 2024 stats when they come out from the FBI for us. Again, rape, these are lowest in the county. And then robberies. The only one that's not higher than us is the Sheriff's Department. Santa Barbara PD and Santa Maria PD both are higher than us. Now, I don't show these stats in any way to take away or throw mud at my partner agencies. But if there's anything that you take away from my presentation today, I want it to be this. Because people's perception of our community is so wrong. I would argue we're the safest place in the county to raise a family, to run a business, and to live your life. And I think the numbers back that up. I'm the chief. I'm responsible for it all. But it's those officers on the streets and those black and whites, those detectives that do the job every day. And they do a great job. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your support for your police department. I'll now introduce Paul Boomersbach from the school district.
Thank you, Chief. Dean, I gotta step up my game. Those videos were awesome. I don't have any videos, sorry guys. Like the chief, it takes a village, it takes a team. And I'm a proud part of the Lompoc Unified School District team that works every day to, whether it's take your garbage out or teach the kids, being proud of that team is why I'm here. It's why many district employees stayed here in Lompoc, born and raised in Lompoc, and are still now teaching and supporting our youth. And I wouldn't choose any other path for myself, and so would many others. All right. So to start off with, for Lompoc Unified, a couple of years ago, the school board and the district decided to look at our goals, look at our mission and vision, and see if it matched where we are wanting to go in the future. And reached out to our team, our village, and got the following feedback from them, and decided on this mission, vision, goals, and more importantly, the motto. The last couple of years as this has been in place, I've been hiring staff for the district, hiring staff to go in front of our kids. And the one thing that those that did their homework on our district did is they mentioned that motto. And it starts with the trusting relationships. I think that is huge, and I'm so happy that that is our forefront of our motto. The relationships, nothing can be done until you have that relationship with those students and the other staff that you're working with. They're not going to listen to you. They're not going to get you until you build that rapport. Then it comes with the high expectations. It has to be that equal balance of what we expect, and tell our students what we expect. Tell our staff what we expect. And then lastly, the result of every student succeeding. So just that motto I have heard in so many different interviews. And again, that shows me they're doing their homework, but it also shows me that we chose a pretty good motto for our district. A little bit about us. Low under 1,100 employees, just under 9,000 students in our district, 16 schools. The breakdown is on the right there. Percentages, and we have a few more certificated staff, certificating meaning the teachers, the speech, the behaviorists, psychologists, versus the classified, very important, supporting everything in the classroom. Again, very happy with the whole team there. A little bit about our budget. Dr. Finneran was unable to be here this week and present, so it is my honor to do so on her behalf. But I want to read a little quote from her. While we anticipate federal cuts, impact on Lompoc Unified remains uncertain. We will continue to work every day so that each student will graduate ready for post-secondary education, career, or whatever their life after high school brings. And we will continue to do so no matter what is happening around us. Our students have to be our focus, and it will continue to be our focus no matter what. Again, just a little breakdown of our funding sources, and I thank Doug Sorum, our business department, and his team for supporting our budget, making sure it is where it needs to be each year. So those outcomes, those dreaded tests everybody says at the end of each school year that we have to take for the state. We prepare our students all year, and we are judged by these sets of tests. The good news is, in science, math, and ELA, 7 of our schools increased this past year. 6 in language arts, 7 in the proficiency. We have the star next to those 7 schools for the proficiency in English because they were above the state average this past school year. So again, very happy with
our team, our village, and most importantly, our students for their hard work on those assessments. We also had a 10% decrease in chronic absenteeism, which is a difficult task, getting them to school each and every day on time with a variety of things happening in everybody's family and life, getting them to school. Again, I can't say enough how we are impressed with all of our sites and our support staff for helping with doing so. Some recent recognitions. I heard a little bit earlier about the Purple Star. Very happy that Crestview Elementary School, just within a couple months ago, received the Purple Star for building a strong community and support for students and families in the military area. So very happy with Crestview Elementary for that award. Maple High School is our continuation high school. And they were given the model school by the California Department of Education. Lompoc High School received National Education Equity Lab. What that means is we are partnering with prestigious colleges, Princeton and so forth. Their professors are working with Lompoc High School staff to teach Lompoc High School students in a variety of areas. They are earning high school credit, but they're also earning college credit in those courses. And we had 18 students honored by the Honor Society from Lompoc High School. Last is Dr. Clara Finneran. Many administrators, or all administrators in Lompoc Unified, many in the state, are partnered and are AXA members, Association for California School Administrators. And each year we are able to nominate staff in administration. And Dr. Finneran was awarded this year for our region, which is the Tri-Counties Superintendent of the Year. So next Friday we will be going to Ventura to honor her recognition and everything she has done for our schools and our staff. And there's a little thing called Measure M bond this past year. And as you all know, we've tried several times since the early 2000s to pass a bond. Our students, our staff deserve the best facilities, the best environment to learn from. And just a huge thank you goes out to everybody in the community for supporting this bond that will support us for the next 30 years or so. Special thank you, Ashley Costa, Chuck Madsen, for supporting that and moving forward and doing all the legwork to support our bond measure. We have a master plan for the 5-year master plan, $439 million that needs to be done in the schools. This bond is a huge effort into getting some of those things done, roughly $160 million. Some of the top priorities that our community, our staff has voted for and that we have already started movement on are getting rid of some of the asbestos ceilings, the floors, some of the roofing. Is that still working? My son. I might have. Testing. Thank you. So some of these projects, roofing, windows, intercoms, I still visiting some of the schools and they take a panel off about the size of the screen and there's wires everywhere. We've been using those intercoms. Well, those that are still working. Anyway, a lot of those things will be starting to take place this summer and we'll be seeing some of that money into action this summer. Very pleased. We sold our first set of bonds, Series A, for $30 million for the next 3 years. Really looking forward to supporting our staff and giving the students a great place to learn and a great environment for them. Also, thank you to the Oversight Committee, and those names are listed on the right, to ensure that the bond funds is going to the right places. Another initiative we've been working on is employee housing, workforce housing. The past 3-4 years that I've been in this position, I am offering contracts to teachers, psychologists, social workers. They accept. About a week later, they call me back and say, I'm sorry, I cannot find housing. And they have to find another location to work in. And so one of the areas that we're really looking forward to in the next 4 to 6 years is trying to get some workforce housing for our district employees. When we did a survey, it wasn't just new teachers, even the 3 to 5 year teachers that have been with the district are still looking for housing. And so another quote from Dr. Finneran, our employees are our greatest asset, and this long-term strategy will significantly help our district retain and recruit the best employees well into the future. So really looking forward to our team investing into the workforce housing in the future. It will create 100+ units for our staff. They will be funded public-private partnerships. Just a reminder, no funds from the Measure M or the LUSD general funds will be used for employee housing. And so really looking forward to, again, supporting our staff there. This is a little quick time frame of the employee housing project. Again, hopefully in the next 4 years, we will see some action and be ready to, when I go to those job fairs, show a picture of this employee housing for our staff and allow them to have an opportunity to take part in this process for us. Again, really exciting. Our team, Dr. Finneran and her staff, have visited a couple workforce housing places at school districts and have heard nothing but positive about those opportunities for the staff. Lastly, just a thank you to all of our current partners. Again, it takes that village. The team is not just district employees, it's this community. And again, that's why many of us were born and raised and stay here, or we hire and they stay and they commute from Santa Barbara, they commute from Santa Maria. We have an employee from Morro Bay area that's been commuting for 28 years. He loves the community, and it is a special community thanks to all of you and our partners. So thank you again on behalf of the Lompoc Unified School District. With that, I'd like to introduce Lompoc Valley Medical Center, Dustin Cheney and Lindsay Arevelos.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dustin Cheney. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for Lompoc Valley Medical Center. And with me today is Lindsay Arevelos Velasco, who is our Senior Director of Operations. So we're going to trade off, so you'll have to hear me go on the whole time. I appreciate Lindsay being here with me. I'm going to just give you first a brief intro into our district. So we are the first operating hospital district hospital in the state of California, established in 1946. You can see we've got 170 licensed beds, 60 of those at our acute hospital, 110 at our convalescent care center. We make $162 million in total annual operating revenue last year. And right now we're up to over 40 contracted physicians and 15 advanced practice providers. On the screen you can see some of the specialties that we provide. Some of the newer ones in there that have been added in recent years, which we have a focus on, is bariatric, neurology, and urogynecology. For the last fiscal year, ending in June 2024, you can see some of our stats on screen. In addition to those, we had 319 deliveries, and our skilled nursing facility had a daily census of 89. With that, Lindsay's going to talk about a few of our locations.
Over the last 10 years, Lompoc Valley Medical Center has grown quite a bit, from our acute care hospital to having primary care, specialty care, we've just become a large system. So I think it's important to talk about our different locations that we have within our organization today. To start, to give a little background on the acute hospital. So many of you know our acute hospital today, but our first acute hospital was our original building, which was on East Hickory, which was where we started in 1946. The original hospital was a state-funded initiative to help provide access to rural communities, provide that access to care. In preparing for today, I spoke to one of our prior CEOs, Jim Raggio, and I was asking him some questions about some, dates and whatnot and some of the history. And one of the things he shared with me was, before the hospital had become into existence here in town, Dr. Hygis would share stories. Dr. Hygis, a longtime well-known physician here in town, would share stories about how he would take patients to Cottage and patients wouldn't make it on the way. And so it was really important for there to be access to care in rural communities. And I think what's really important, kind of for that, I think is that not everyone necessarily knows is that Lompoc is really intended to provide that time and care to help stabilize those patients so that and if they need to go to a higher level of care, then that's when we transfer to our partner hospitals, Cottage or Marion. So really our role as a general acute care hospital is we want to bring patients in, be able to provide that immediate care, get those patients stabilized, and if they need a higher level of care than what we're able to provide, then that's when we send them to one of our partnering organizations. In 2005, the Lompoc voters voted on a general obligation bond for $74.5 million to build a new hospital. The bond passed overwhelmingly with 87% in favor of the initiative. In 2010, we moved into our new hospital on East Ocean. We are a 60-bed general acute care hospital providing emergency surgery, medical, surgical, critical care, and birthing services. Additionally, we also provide a number of ancillary services, radiology services, laboratory services, cardiopulmonary, as well as rehabilitation services. Moving on to our comprehensive care center. So in 1972, there was also a general obligation bond that was passed to build a long-term care facility. Prior to building the long-term care facility, what's known as the Convalescent Care Center, long-term care was actually being provided at the original district hospital on East Hickory. And what had happened was the need for long-term care had far exceeded what was able to be provided at the East Hickory location, and that's when they put a general obligation bond on the ballot that passed for $1.5 million to build what's today the 110-bed skilled nursing facility that we have. All right, and then moving on to our next one. So as I've mentioned, over the last 10 years, we've grown. We've grown to be a large integrated healthcare delivery system providing, primary care, specialty care, a number of services for the members within the community. It was really important for Lompoc Valley Medical Center to be really versatile and strategic and adapting to the changes within the healthcare environment. Many providers that were in private practice were looking to join larger organizations due to the increasing demands and regulations that were taking place at the federal and state levels for providers, and it was just becoming increasingly more difficult for them to maintain a private practice because of the overhead. And so that's when Lompoc Valley Medical Center started looking at acquiring these clinics. And so most recently, we have purchased the Coast Hills building out in the village, and we purchased it in 2023, and we expect it to be operational in 2026. The village clinic will expand our primary care services, specialty care services. There's been, we've had other discussions about other services that will go out there. And really all of this is to help further increase the access to care to the community, further increase access for our community members so that we can provide care to our community within Lompoc, preventing them from having to go outside of the city to receive that care. In December of 2018, Lompoc Valley Medical Center, we acquired the Sansom Clinic building that I'm sure a majority of you that have been in town know. We acquired that building, and that building provides a large span of services, including primary care, specialty care. We provide orthopedics, ear, nose, and throat, general surgery, pulmonology, bariatric surgery, and nephrology. In addition, we also provide urgent care, health, behavioral health, occupational medicine, and x-ray radiological services as well.
few more of the facilities that we're quite proud of is our sleep center. So we have 3-bed in-house sleep studies available there. And we expanded services just this year to include home sleep studies as well. We average about 400 sleep studies per year, and the home sleep studies will allow us to reach out to even more individuals in need. For North Third Center, those of you who are longtime residents who are familiar with Valley Medical Group, a longtime presence in our community. The partnership that would become VMG formed on January 1st of 1961. And here now, 60 plus years later, they're still here for the residents of our beloved town. You can see some of the services they provide on screen. It's a 15,000 square foot facility, and they play a key role as they're right next to the hospital with patients back and forth. One of the areas that we are most proud of is Lompoc Hematology Oncology. We have 8 infusion chairs, and we expanded last year for outpatient iron and non-chemo infusions. Dr. Donna Walker had been practicing in San Ynez and Lompoc Valleys for almost 20 years in private practice. She joined LVMC in 2015, and now we have Dr. Melanie Sham as well, giving us 2 practicing oncologists. We see about 7,000 visits per year. Like many of you and many of us in this community, I have someone in my family who was impacted by cancer, whom we lost in 2014. And at the time, the nearest services were in Solvang, San Ynez area. And on the return home after treatment, we had to pull over to the side of the road because the nausea from the treatments was just terrible. And so it is absolutely critical that this service remain in Lompoc for our residents so they can be close to their homes for this service. And we're very grateful to our oncologists who make this possible so we can retain the service in our community for our residents. This shows 13 of our facilities here in town, and a 14th, our newest, as Lindsay mentioned, is located in the village. A couple of those that weren't talked about that are highlighted in that light orange color. Sabi Health. This is a free clinic here on Ocean. The SART House is something that we partner with the county, the city, and the PD to help victims of that situation. And then the Champion Center recently was sold in February to Crestwood, which is a behavioral health organization. But we are quite proud of what we've been able to grow and do for this community. And on that, I'll give it over to Lindsay for our mission.
Lompoc Valley Medical Center, we continue to remain a standalone entity in the state of California with a focus on providing local access to healthcare to the Lompoc community, preventing our patients from having to travel outside of the city to receive services. Our overall mission for our organization and our commitment to the community is to provide safe, high-quality, compassionate, and patient-centered healthcare services to our community. We do this through working through our core values, working with our core values every day, which includes our values of integrity, respect, transparency, excellence, collaboration, and stewardship. We are a health system that is here to serve the community. Currently, one of the things that we're working on is we're currently working on our 3-year strategic plan. We're working on a strategic plan to help guide the work that we are doing each and every day, help guide our capital projects, guide our initiatives. There's a lot going on in the media, a lot happening with the administration. Medicaid is definitely a huge focus. We serve a large Medicaid population. And so by taking a look at our strategic plan for the next few years and really focusing on what we need to do to be able to sustain ourselves as an organization is extremely important. Our overarching goal, as we kind of have put together and are working on our strategic plan, is to provide independent, high quality, and affordable local health care. And through that, we have these surrounding goals that are a part of it, which include acute care growth, growing within our acute care hospital, services that we provide, looking at services, how we can continue to retain folks within our community. A couple of years, we started dialysis services within the hospital. That was in order to help dialysis patients from having to be diverted from Lompoc Hospital to having to go to Cottage because we didn't provide dialysis services. We now provide dialysis services for inpatients to be able to retain those folks in the community It keeps them close to home so their families are able to come visit them and be with them more frequently. And so that's part of our strategic goals, looking at more ways that we can provide more services within the acute care hospital to keep people here locally. Looking at our post-acute care growth, our skilled nursing facility, continuing to improve our quality of care, focusing on our facilities. We have a number of facilities. We continue to, look and determine ways of how we need to continue to expand with the ever-evolving world of healthcare. Our ambulatory growth. As I mentioned, ambulatory growth has been a huge part of our strategic plan and what we have done over the last 10 years to help maintain healthcare and retain healthcare in the community. Looking at digital health, AI, looking at the different features in digital health that are going on. Currently, we're working on implementing a large enterprise record system. It encompasses our financial systems, our billing systems, our material systems, our radiology systems. All of our systems are being interchanged with a whole new system. And so we're really looking at more ways of how we can improve the quality and efficiency through digital health. Working on improving our culture, and then as well as partnering with our foundation to bring some of these initiatives to light. Our foundation is what helps support a number of our capital initiatives and help us to be able to put things forth. And then overall, all of these goals that we're working on and putting milestones in place, we're working with all of our directors of each department, of all of our facilities, to get their input on milestones, on goals within their areas and how they can support each of these goals within our strategic plan. And then all of this kind of wraps up into what our ultimate goal is, so that we're able to provide independent, high quality, affordable local health care, which is our overall financial stability. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Doug.
So in summary, that LVMC is a district. There's some advantages to us being in that status. There's funding and programs that are available to us to help us. Healthcare tends to be in the news quite a bit, and it can be a tough, polarizing issue with a lot of different ideas and opinions on how it's best to be run. And certainly there's opportunities for improvement. But as a district with that independent status, it allows us access to some of those funds that keep us going. As I mentioned, the $162 million in revenue that we received, once you get through the expenses, we're only ended the year at $4 million in expenses, which is a fewer than 1% profit margin. So it is a challenging industry, but we strive to remain local. And it has been our pleasure, our passion, and our goal to serve and take care of both you, your neighbors, your family, and your friends. And we look forward to continuing to do so. Thank you for your time. At this point, we'll hand it back over to Devika.
So again, I would just really like to thank all of our presenters that were here today. We kind of changed it up a couple of years ago to include Lompoc Valley Medical and the school district. I felt that it was equally I felt that it was equally important to hear their voices as well as some of the biggest institutions in our community. So I hope that you guys learned something here today about those institutions. And just thank you again for being here. And that concludes today's program. Thank you.